Yo, not all studs are dominant, yo. They really aren't. Not all. Did you know that? And you already know who this is. But come on. Let me take you on an intellectual journey. I'm only going to take a few minutes of your time. But I'm going to take out the time to encourage you to think. And just dig a little deeper. Let's go. Dig a bit deeper inside. Did you know that not all studs are dominant? What? No, seriously, they're not. Apparently, people don't know that. People don't seem to know that. For whatever reason, I guess it's safe, almost safe to assume. It seems likely that if a woman is more masculine than the other, if she's a stud, if she's a dyke, if she's, whatever you want to call it, she'd be more inclined to be the one in control in the relationship, just because we pattern everything else after the heterosexual world. We're probably going to pattern that as well. So, it might be an educated guess to assume that, the random stud walking down the street is dominant, or whatever you want to call it. But it's not accurate. It's not 100% accurate at all. I know many people who aren't dominant and that are studs, and people are shocked. Me personally, it depends. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm neutral, and then sometimes I'm submissive. Typically when I'm with a stud, I'm probably going to be the submissive one in the relationship, unless the stud is less dominant than me. Then I'm going to assume the position, With the femme, I would like to be in control, I would like to be dominant, but that's not always the case. If she's more dominant than me, then I really don't have much fight. So it's just what it is. And I guess that's what really confuses studs. People all the time whenever they think of S for S, they think of two dominant studs getting together and fighting all the time. And it's just confusing. It doesn't make sense. But think about it with this. A lot of black women are typically dominant, extremely aggressive. And how would that relationship work if they're with men who are dominant, who tend to be dominant by nature? Tend to be, not all are. Well, there's always one that's more submissive, one that's more dominant than the other, even if they're both dominant by nature. Sometimes it's the woman, sometimes it's the man. By society, it's supposed to be the man. The dudes are the ones who open the doors for the women, the ones who pull the chairs out, the ones who are supposed to be the providers, even though nowadays it's the women that are out there hustling and bustling and bringing home the bacon and cooking it. But anyways, continuing with what I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah. At the end of the day, it's going to be the one who's more dominant. It's sort of like survival of the fittest. Or, I can't think of the example I'm trying to think of. But, in an S for S relationship, pretty much whoever's more dominant will be the one, in control. Or maybe it switches every now and then, but usually there's going to be one main, And then femmes. Y'all already know. I don't even have to say that not all femmes are submissive, cause y'all know. That's why y'all be saying that what is it? Femme AG or I don't know what y'all be saying nowadays. But y'all know femmes are not always submissive. So if femmes could be both submissive and dominant, why can't studs be both submissive and dominant? The guys are like that too. There's some that are hella submissive. Okay, true. Maybe the majority, because I don't know. take my word as fact, but it seems as though the majority are dominant. But I think that's just society's opinion. And so because of society's opinion, we just automatically assume that a male is going to be a dominant one, a male is going to be a more aggressive one. And so in our community, stud's going to be the more dominant one, stud's going to be the more aggressive one. And it's just not always the case, you know? So just think about that. It's just the reason why I chose this topic this week is because it's something that I'm always having to remind people that not all studs are dominant. So that's another reason why I don't use the term AG. We'll see a stud and be like, oh, look at that AG, or look at that Dom. I don't use those terms, because how do you just gonna assume that they're AG? How are you gonna assume they're aggressive? How are you gonna assume that they're dominant? You can't just assume that. Nothing that they're wearing, unless they say a shirt that says I am aggressive or I am dominant, how are you just gonna label them with those two terms after seeing them one time, not knowing them, you know? So I've always wondered why and how that term, you know, came about. Like, well, obviously by assumption, assuming and generalizing. But I don't use those words or those terms, whatever, because they don't seem too factual, you know. Femmes can be dominant and aggressive, or dominant and aggressive. They can be submissive. Studs can be submissive. I'll raise my hand most definitely. My ex, I was definitely submissive with her. Oh my goodness. It hurt my ego, but it was what it was. But in one of my more recent relationships, I was the dominant one. And in one of my more recent relationships with a stud, I was the submissive one. No, actually, I don't know. It was confusing. Sort of, like she would be the one to hold the door open for me, but I was definitely the one in control. So let me change that. But another thing I wanted to talk about was relationships. This stems from it. I personally think that people should be equal. In this society, no, people aren't equal. Males are the ones that are, more important, that are given more responsibilities and things like that, and a bigger title, I guess you could say. And I personally don't think that that's fair, or that's, something people should do. I've always believed in equality, like in relationships, whatever. And so I remember with my first relationship, I told her, I'm not going to tell you what to do. Who am I? I'm only 16 years old. Who am I to tell you what to do? Before you met me, you lived your own life and you did your own thing and you answered to yourself. So why should you start answering to me? I mean, I would encourage her to do something. I would encourage her, suggest to her that maybe she should or should not do something. I would never put my foot down and be like, no. Why she gotta listen to me? Who am I? Seriously. Who am I? Just because I wear the pants literally in a relationship? Since when has that given me right to tell any human being what to do? So, just, keep those two things in mind. One, not all studs are dominant. Just know that. And Shawty Teen Stud 06 or 09, I don't remember what it is, it's a prime example of a stud being submissive. So go check her out. Her name is Gabby. Go check her out, subscribe to her. And then the second thing, what was the second thing? Oh yeah, just consider, if you're in a relationship, consider the person with you, talk to them, ask them if they want to have a mutual relationship. That's what I used to call it, a mutual relationship. Ask them if they just want to do things jointly, and see how that works out for you. It might work out well, because you might not be called controlling anymore or self-absorbed. Hey, the shoe fits, wear it, okay? But anyways, I'm finna get out y'all face now. It's your girl Studded Love. Oh, yeah, I haven't obviously gotten to a video. I'm sorry, I really am. I haven't gotten to a video. If you follow me on Twitter, you know why. Anyways, it's your girl Studded Love signing out. And